Hey guys, so my original plan was to go episode by episode and review each episode of the second season of Daredevil. I've gotten to the end already, and due to technical difficulties, I wasn't uploading as I wanted to, as I made them. The reason for the low production value. But I ended up not having a lot to say about each episode individually. So I'm just going to do the season as a whole because I think that's going to be much more interesting. So here we go. Wow, there's a lot to cover because we had the Punisher, and we introduced him, and the Elektra storyline was very interesting, and it spawned from some stuff from season 1, and made me realize that they've been working on this since season 1. So, kudos to them. But the season overall was pretty great. They introduced the Hand, which is a mystic organization, for Marvel. Like the League of Assassins for DC fans. It's the Hand. They're the same deal. And they're ninjas who want to rule the world or something. They haven't really said what they really want, other than we want Elektra because she's the prophesied person that is going to rule our order. Or it's very convoluted, and I'm not up to date on all the comic book stuff for this, so I'm not really sure what exactly all this is, because it's not Earth 616. It's not the original Marvel storyline, because originally she served the Hand, and now it looks like she's going to lead it, so that's a little different. The romance that brews between Karen and Matt, I think, is very good. I think that it was done very organically, and it felt real, which is difficult sometimes with some of these romances on TV and stuff, and in movies. Sometimes it doesn't feel real, and that's it's hard to fake, and they did it well here. So, congrats. The choreography was fantastic, as it was last season. And they had Punisher on trial for all of his misdeeds throughout the season. And that was very interesting indeed. I don't think that they've ever had Punisher get caught. So that's very different that he did. So they had him on trial, and Nelson and Murdoch defended him. They were his defense lawyers, and it was very interesting to see Matt try to balance defending Frank when he put him in jail. And the conclusion of the season made me unsure of where they're going next, because I know that Elektra is going to get resurrected. Elektra getting resurrected is, kind of the deal, because, spoilers, she dies at the end, but she's going to be resurrected. It's very obvious. The ritual, however, is not. It seems to have to do with these kids that they're farming blood from, and they use the blood to do this certain ritual involving a stone sarcophagus. It's all very mysterious. I don't really understand where they're going with it. And the kids seem to have some sort of evil tendency as well, where they're not normal. And I say kids when I should really say young adults. They were probably between 18 and 18 and 21, somewhere in there. And maybe younger as well. Gauging age is difficult for me sometimes. But the season as a whole was very different than season 1. There was actually more violence than season 1, but it didn't seem to impact as much. Where the violence in the first season was much more understated. So when it happened, it was more shocking, I guess. When Wilson Fisk used that car door, or when that guy that Daredevil was interrogating got himself with the iron fence there. That was something. It was emotionally impactful, where the violence of this season seems to just wash over you. It doesn't affect you as much. It's like watching an Avengers movie. You see all this, violence happening, everybody's fighting something, and it just kind of washes over you. It doesn't really affect you emotionally for the most part. One of the things that I'm actually really thankful for with this series is, yes, it is TVMA, but they don't abuse that rating. Because there's potential. And I saw it in Jessica Jones as well. They almost got there, but not quite. Where it could turn into a typical TVMA series, where really they get the TVMA series to get the rating. They get the rating to appeal to my age group, 18 to 24. Because we're adults now, so we can watch adult things, so we watch adult things, right? So that would be series like, I think Dexter kind of abused the rating a bit, with his sister always cussing for no reason, and with nudity and everything else. It kind of abused it, where Daredevil, in contrast, uses it to its advantage. And even though they are TVMA and they can show some things, because there was a flashback scene with Elektra where they got together. They don't abuse it. It is a sex scene, but it's not a TVMA sex scene. Just saying. And honestly, I appreciate that, because when things are shown because it's a TVMA series, and it may be pretty blatant that it's because it's a TVMA series, I kind of get pulled out of it, because it feels very cheap to me. But overall, I think the season was very solid, and I really hope that we see more out of the Punisher and perhaps get some of these heroes involved in the Civil War in some way, where we hear when they're talking about the menace that superheroes are, they talk about the Punisher's trial. That would be a really cool little reference. Or we have even just a newspaper article, people calling for the Daredevil to unmask himself or something. Will be really great. Because there's all kinds of little tie-ins between the TV shows and between the TV show and the films, because they talk about, oh yeah, there's Spider-Man swinging around New York. You know, you never see him, but he's mentioned. And they mention the Hulk, and they mention Thor, and they mention all these other ones. So it's great to have those little references. Like, I think I caught a couple that, I don't really know because I don't know the comics, but certain numbers and stuff seemed to make sense because of things that I did researching before this series came out, because I wanted to be up on it and kind of figure out how they're changing things and all that. But I'm not as up on it as, I don't know issue numbers. I'm not that deep into it yet. But I'd really like to see a little more synergy between the films and the TV show. The TV show affects the films a bit more. This is unrelated to Daredevil, but it seems a little odd to me that Cap and everybody else thinks that S.H.I.E.L.D. is dead. And S.H.I.E.L.D. is not dead, and neither is Coulson. And it's been, in real time, it's been 4 years. But we don't know how long that is in Marvel Cinematic Universe years. We don't know how long that is, because the events from Iron Man 2 also coincide with Thor and them finding Captain America in the beginning of the first Avengers. So, that was what's it called? Fury's busy week. He mentions in Iron Man 2 that he has a real busy week going on, something in New Mexico and all that, referring to Thor that wouldn't come out for another year. So over a 2-year period, these 3 movies coincided almost. So, they play around with the timeline a little bit. So we don't know, how long it's been, but it's still a little weird that Coulson's still dead to the Avengers. Because I've been waiting for that moment where he shows up and they're like, what? Yeah, I think it'll be a cool moment, and I want to see him back in the Avengers movies, honestly. Because I miss him. He's in the show, and that's fine. But I miss him. So I'll stop blathering on, since I've gone on for almost 15 minutes on this show. So if you have Netflix, watch it, because it's great. And I will see you next time.